Christine! Guess who got a ring light? This girl! Yes, thank you, Mom and Dad. Merry Christmas. I got a ring light. I need to get a little filter thingy to make it softer light and something to put my phone on because it's very harsh and it's very bright and I'm probably blinking a ton as I get used to it. So I'm sorry if I'm super blinky in this video. But today we are going to talk about moving to Los Angeles and why it's a bad idea. Yeah, pretty much. This idea came to me today as I was doing an interview on a podcast, and we were talking about when I moved to Los Angeles and how awful it can be and how scary it can be to move out here by yourself, and how people will plan to be an actor and just move to Los Angeles and think like it's going to be easy, and it's not super easy. So we're going to talk about it today. We're going to talk some real talk. We're going to have story time with Christine. I don't think I've ever done anything quite like this. Although I did a series a long time ago of YouTube videos where I talked about moving to Los Angeles and becoming an actor and how to do it and everything. And I don't know if all of that advice still stands up in the current economy and the way things are. But for the most part, I think it probably does if you can find that somewhere. I'm not going to link to it because I look crazy. I wore this hat. But you are welcome to find it if you want to search it out. It's probably on this YouTube channel or it's somewhere on the internet and I don't know where it is. Anyway. Today we're going to talk about when I first moved to Los Angeles. So when I first moved to Los Angeles so long ago, it really was. It was over 10 years now. But I'm still only 22 or 25, so I can do beer commercials. I'm 25. Anyway, back when I moved to Los Angeles, I lived in this horrible apartment complex. I mean, it wasn't a bad apartment spatially. It was big, I guess. It was $850. There was no parking. It had cockroaches. Part of that might have been me because I really hated doing dishes. It had bars on the windows. And when I would go out to my truck, because I drove a truck when I moved to Los Angeles, I actually threw everything in the back of my truck and drove it out here. So I had a truck. I would run to my truck because there was a small gang of boys who would chase me and they would rock my truck with me in it, and I would have to try not to hit them as I would drive away, and I was always terrified of them. And then one day someone broke into my apartment. I'm pretty sure I know who it was, but I didn't call the police because I was naive and scared and didn't think I should call the police for whatever reason. I don't know why. If someone breaks into your apartment, call the police. Just do it. Just call 911. I'm sorry. Do it. Don't be like me. Granted, I had been drinking. I don't drink anymore. But back then, I'd been drinking, so I felt like I wasn't allowed to call the police when you were drinking. I don't know. It was a stupid thought. Anyway, I didn't call the police, but someone had broken into my apartment. My locks were done differently. Someone had gone downstairs and cut the power to my apartment, which is why I didn't have electricity, and I could see where someone had sat on my bed. So, yeah, that happened to me. So after that happened, I was too afraid to sleep at night because obviously the person who broke in had a key because he was the maintenance guy. So I put chairs wedged up underneath the door frame and the door handles of my main door and my bedroom door. And I would sit and I would either sit on the living room floor because I didn't have furniture, or I would sit on my mattress, which is what I slept on because I had a mattress on a box spring, and that was it. That was my furniture because I couldn't afford furniture. And I would stare at the door all night long and be on the computer because I was too afraid to sleep. And then I would work extra work during the day, and I would sleep in between scenes in a chair in a public spot with a lot of people around because I felt safer because I was so scared to sleep in my own apartment at night. So then I moved in with someone, but we won't get into all of that. So let's say after I moved out of that person's home, I moved on my own in an apartment in Santa Monica where I got low-income housing, which meant I only paid $950 a month for a 300 square foot apartment. Wait, I think I actually got a discount on the rent because I was also the manager of the building at the time. But anyway, it was almost $1,000 a month with low-income housing and being the manager. And I had the handicap accessible apartment, which sucked because it meant the bathroom was pretty much the size of the apartment. And there was no elevator to get to it. It was just stairs. So that was weird. But anyway, it was a 300 square foot apartment. If you don't know how big that is, basically look around your bedroom. That was the size of my entire apartment. And I didn't have a stove. I just had a hot plate type thing on the top. And then the bathroom was the sink. If I remember correctly, I don't think there was another sink in my place. I had to wash my dishes in my bathroom sink, which is fine because I use paper plates. Yeah, it was bad. I didn't have parking there either. So I paid more in parking fines, I think, in a year. Oh yeah, that was bad. I parked at work and then I'd walk to work and leave my vehicle there all the time. And then let's get into some of the other things that happened that were really scary and bad. Like the time that the homeless person right in front of me threw change at an old lady with a walker, like in her face, like went pew, and threw change at her because they didn't want her change. They wanted actual money. Or the time the guy I was dating got squirted in the face by a homeless person with a syringe of some sort of unknown liquid. Yeah, there was a lot of crazy stuff that happened, specifically around the homeless community, because they do have a lot of disabilities and mental disabilities, and I understand that, but that doesn't make it any less scary for you on the receiving end of it. I had people who would follow me around. Yeah, it's scary. Okay. So if you are a person who thinks I'm going to move to Los Angeles and it is going to be glitzy and glamorous, it's not. It's maybe if you're already rich, it could sort of be, but it's probably not going to be that. It's going to be dirty and scary and kind of horrible for a while. And you're probably going to eat ramen noodles and McDonald's and try to survive and live 8 people deep in an apartment somewhere, and it's going to be gross for a while. And then you're going to get some success, hopefully, and you'll be able to move out and have like a real life, which is what I had done for a while. I was in a relationship and I lived in a fairly nice condo. Granted, it was a $500,000 investment, not for me, but for the person I was living with. Yeah, that was for a 2-bedroom condo with 1.5 baths. Like, at least we had parking in that one. So yeah, it's not cheap to live here. And then I moved out after that relationship ended and moved into another scary apartment by myself, which was a small 1-bedroom next to the Playboy Liquor. It's really the Playboy Liquor, but the Y is a martini cup, but it looks like a martini cup, so it doesn't look like a Y, so we call it Playboy. Anyway, it was over there, and all my neighbors were doing drugs and playing drums all day and night long. That was probably the safest place I lived on my own, though. Yeah. So I'm just giving you this, like, story time about what it was like when I moved here, because I guess people don't actually talk about this stuff, and they say like, oh, I moved to Los Angeles and it was hard, or they might mention like, I lived in my car for a while, but they kind of blow it off and underplay it, and everyone comes out here thinking it's just this beautiful, glamorous city. I'm not saying don't move here. By all means, if you have a passion for entertainment and you want to move to Los Angeles because the weather is obviously awesome, except for when it's fire season or it's raining like crazy, like yesterday when our kitchen flooded. Actually, it didn't flood. The roof leaked through our ceiling and basically took out all of our electricity for the lights in there, and then flooded the stove. So it flooded the stove. It wasn't as bad as it made it sound, but still, I mean, I live in a decent apartment too now in like a nice area, and that's that. I can't imagine what was going on in some of the crappy apartments like the ones that I used to live in. Yeah. So yeah, I'm just saying, like, if you want to move to LA, move to LA. If you want to be an actor, you should do that. But just know, it's not as glamorous as everybody says it is. Because everybody makes it sound like it's just like sparkles and unicorns. It isn't. It's not. It's like dead rats and cockroaches. Rat poop could be the glitter, I suppose. Or cockroach poop is smaller, so that could be glitter. Anyway, that's all. But I don't want you to be discouraged, because I say that, don't be discouraged. But I really don't. I want you not to be discouraged. I just want you to understand the reality of the situation, that it is expensive. You need to have a lot of money saved up. Not like a couple $1,000s, but like a lot of money saved up if you don't want to have to get a crappy job right away, like working at a 9-to-5 flipping burgers type job. Not that those are crappy jobs, but you know, like, that's not what you moved here for. So if you don't want to have to get a job that's going to take away from your time to audition and do all these other things that you want to do, if you're a writer or whatever, you want to make sure that you save up money before you come here, and save up a lot, because you're going to have to put down your first month's rent and a security deposit, which is the equivalent of first month's rent, and it's probably going to be around $1,000 to $2,000 depending on what kind of apartment you're going to get. So you're going to need to have, you know, just for your first month's rent, probably $4,000 set aside. and you're gonna want to make sure that you have money to eat, furnish your apartment, buy anything that you need to get started. If you need new headshots, you're gonna have a headshot photographer. You're gonna have to print some of those, not a whole lot anymore, but you're gonna have your finances set aside for any sort of online services you're gonna use, anything like that. Your car, your insurance, you're gonna have to switch your car over and get plates in California. Like, there's a lot into just moving. It's not like you just move out here and like, hey, I booked a movie role, now I'm gonna be famous and rich. Like, that's not how life works. Just know that. With all that being said, I do love you guys, and I do want you to go out and be a light in the world. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Tell your friends.